If your life looks successful but feels like a prison, I need you to hear this. I did everything like any responsible man would do. I checked all the boxes: career, family, duty. But then there came a time where it all felt meaningless. I felt as if I had built a prison by the very life that I created. And then I asked myself, is this all to life? Is this all to my life? This was me 4 years ago, before I recognized that I was believing 3 lies that I was telling myself. I am Kanu Sankara. I am an Army veteran and a transformational coach. I'm going to walk you through these 3 lies, and maybe you would see the bars of the prison that you are in, and you can finally decide what you're going to do next. The first lie I told myself was, this is just a phase. That restlessness, numbness, emptiness that I felt, they would eventually pass. I just have to wait them out, and I'll eventually get back to the life that I knew. But phases has an end. However, for me, those feelings intensify. I remember Sunday evenings when I was winding down my weekends. And suddenly, I would remember that I had work the next day. And I would have this sinking feeling in my chest. It was like a dread that came over me. But every day, I got up, I got dressed in my uniform, and I headed off to work. The drive to work was approximately an hour and a half, and it was the worst. I would play motivational videos to get my spirit up, but it really took a toll on me. There were many times where I felt like taking the very next turn off and heading off into some direction, anywhere but in my job. And this is where I came to the realization that this wasn't a phase. This was a full-blown crisis. I had to do something to get myself out of where I was, to get myself out of that dump. But the most seductive lie that I told myself was, I had to do it alone. I felt like if I asked for help, it would make me seem weak. And by doing it alone, it gave me that feeling of strength, that I'm a man and I can handle this all on my own. But do you know what was truly interesting? As a military commander, I would always advise my soldiers they were to never move alone. But here I am as their leader, fighting a battle by myself. I guess it's that shame that shows up, especially if you're a leader. And it had me thinking, what would my soldiers think of me? They come to me for help, and I am unable to help myself. They would be thinking, how can he help us if he cannot help himself? So while I looked strong on the outside, I was a cookie on the inside. I was crumbling day by day. I had to learn that my pride was not my protection. In reality, it was my prison. But I think the most dangerous lie was, I'm successful, so then I must be fine. Because after all, I was recently promoted. I also received a medal for efficient service. So then, why should I be the one complaining? I didn't want to come across as ungrateful, because I knew that there were many who wished that they were in my position, that they had the opportunities that I had. So how could I now complain when everything looks good? But success was merely a mask. It was a mask to hide that open nerve that was below the surface, the cracks that were showing up in my well put together presentation as a man, as a leader, as a father. But to get the help that I so needed, I had to stop lying to myself. I had to acknowledge that lie that I was telling myself, that it is merely a phase, that I would get over it. I had to take action. Unless I did, nothing was going to change. This led me to begin the process of quitting my job and going back to school. I am certainly not advocating for quitting your job. It may not necessarily be the answer. But for me, it was the answer. I needed to get out of my career. But I also knew that the answer was not stagnation. Staying in that place where I felt as if my soul was dying day by day. I also had to see the second lie for what it truly is. I had to do this alone. By choosing to stay alone, I was actually isolating myself from help. I was not having any conversations, there weren't any coaching, and certainly there wasn't any therapy. But as I switched careers and I moved into coaching, I became a part of a group of men and we formed a brotherhood. And it was there and then I realized the value of brotherhood. Brotherhood offers support, encouragement, and it also challenges you to grow. And during the time when I was doing schooling, I discovered content creation. And I just started creating content to help others. It wasn't about building a personal brand. It was just about helping one other person, something that I was already accustomed doing in the military. And that taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me to look past the accolades, the success, the achievements that I was having, and to contribute to something greater. So none of these actions that I took were quick fixes. They took time, and I'm still working on them. I'm still working on myself. And it may look different for you. These were just the steps that I took that helped me address the lies that was keeping me stuck in a midlife crisis. So brother, if you're in a place where you're feeling that restlessness, you're feeling that numbness and that loss of identity, I want to reassure you that you are not alone. There are a lot of other men who have been through it, and there are many others who are there right now with you. So if your life looks fine on paper, but it feels empty, it is not simply a phase. It is a warning to take action. And it doesn't have to all be done in one day. Just start simply by identifying that lie that you have been believing and write it down. That's all that is required for now. I would love to know if any of those lies that I was believing, if you can see the existence of them in your life. Or maybe there's another lie. If you can identify the lie that you have been believing, name it in the comments. Just one comment can show another man that he isn't alone in his pain. This is going to be an ongoing series, so I invite you to join the community. And you can check out the next video here, where I speak on my experience of childhood bullying and how it affected how I showed up as a man.